It's about you. Your soulmate talked about you today and something was said that you can't ignore. My beloved child. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Today was not an ordinary day. A conversation happened that was never supposed to reach your ears, yet somehow destiny has carried every hidden word closer to you. Your soulmate woke up believing they would keep their feelings locked away just one more day. They promised themselves they would smile, stay calm, and never allow your name to escape their lips. But the heart refuses to obey rules created by fear. During a simple conversation, someone unexpectedly asked about the one person they could never truly forget. For a brief moment, silence surrounded them. Their eyes lowered. Their breathing changed. Everyone noticed that something inside them had shifted. They could have changed the subject. They could have laughed it away. Instead, your name quietly slipped into the conversation, and from that exact second, nothing remained the same. Nobody in that room expected the emotion that followed. Faces turned toward your soulmate, waiting for an explanation they never planned to give. The atmosphere became strangely heavy, as though everyone sensed that an invisible truth had finally entered the room. What happened next is the reason you were meant to hear this message today. Stay till the end, because every moment brings you closer to a revelation that could change everything. The conversation grew deeper than anyone expected. One person smiled and casually asked why your soulmate always became so quiet whenever your name appeared. Another joked that perhaps they were hiding feelings they refused to admit. Everyone laughed for a moment, but your soulmate did not. Their silence answered more loudly than words ever could. They stared into the distance as though replaying memories nobody else could see. Then something happened that shocked everyone sitting there. Instead of denying it, they whispered something so unexpected that the room became completely still. They admitted that no matter how hard they tried to move forward, one thought continued following them every single day. They confessed that certain places reminded them of you, certain songs carried your presence, and certain ordinary moments suddenly felt incomplete because your absence had become impossible to ignore. Nobody interrupted them. Nobody laughed anymore. Even those who knew nothing about your connection could feel the sincerity behind every word. One person quietly looked at another and whispered that they had never seen your soulmate speak with such honesty before. Don't skip, because what they revealed after that was something they had never shared with anyone. Just when everyone believed the conversation was ending, one unexpected question changed everything again. Someone leaned forward and gently asked, "If you still feel this deeply, then what is stopping you?" Those simple words reached straight into your soulmate's heart. They closed their eyes for a brief second before answering with a truth they had hidden for far too long. They admitted they were not afraid of loving you. They were afraid of discovering that they had waited too long. The room fell into complete silence. Nobody knew how to respond because every word sounded painfully real. Then an older voice quietly spoke from the other side of the table and said something that nobody present will ever forget. They said that some connections never disappear because they were never meant to be temporary. Those words struck your soulmate harder than anyone realized. Their expression changed instantly, as though something inside them had finally awakened. Since that moment, they have not been thinking about whether they should reach out. They have been wondering how. And what happened immediately after those words were spoken is something you truly cannot ignore. Stay till the end, because something even bigger is already beginning to unfold. A strange feeling followed your soulmate long after that conversation ended. They smiled politely, said goodbye, and walked away, but every step felt heavier than the last. The words they had just heard refused to leave their mind. They replayed every sentence again and again, wondering why the truth had finally escaped after being hidden for so long. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The moment they reached their car, they didn't start the engine. They simply sat there in complete silence, staring through the windshield as though expecting an answer to appear out of nowhere. Then something unexpected happened. Their phone lit up with an old memory containing a date connected to you. It wasn't planned. It wasn't searched for. It simply appeared, and it stopped them completely. Their heartbeat became faster as they whispered your name under their breath without even realizing it. At that exact moment, they understood something they had been trying to deny for far too long. This was no longer a passing emotion. It had become impossible to hide from themselves. The rest of the day unfolded in ways your soulmate never imagined. Every ordinary moment seemed to point back toward you. They overheard a familiar phrase that reminded them of one of your conversations. They passed a place that instantly brought back a forgotten memory. Even a simple melody playing in the background stirred emotions they believed had disappeared forever. The more they tried to focus on something else, the stronger those reminders became. It almost felt as though life itself was refusing to let them forget. One close friend noticed the change and quietly asked, "Are you thinking about that person again?" This time, there was no hesitation. Your soulmate nodded without saying a single word. That silent answer carried more truth than any explanation ever could. Their friend looked at them for a long moment before saying, "If your heart keeps leading you in the same direction, maybe it's because you're supposed to stop running." Those words settled deeply inside them, creating a feeling they could no longer ignore. As night slowly arrived, your soulmate made a decision they had been avoiding for longer than anyone knew. They stopped asking themselves whether you still mattered and started asking what would happen if they stayed silent forever. That question changed everything. They opened old conversations, paused over your name, and held their phone without pressing a single button. Fear and hope stood side by side, each waiting to win. But then another realization quietly entered their heart. They understood that the greatest regret would never be speaking honestly. It would be allowing fear to steal a chance that might never return. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Tonight, while the world believes everything is normal, your soulmate is standing at the edge of a choice that could completely change the path ahead. And the very next step they take may become the moment that brings your two stories closer than ever before. The next morning arrived, but nothing inside your soulmate felt the same. They woke up carrying a strange sense of urgency they had never experienced before. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Instead of reaching for their usual routine, they found themselves replaying every word from yesterday's conversation. The voice that told them to stop hiding their heart echoed louder than ever. They tried convincing themselves it was only emotion, that the feeling would fade after a few hours, but it refused to disappear. It only became stronger. Then, without expecting it, they overheard another conversation between two people who knew nothing about what had happened. One of them quietly said, "The biggest mistakes in life usually come from waiting too long." Those simple words struck them like lightning. They froze where they stood, unable to move for several seconds. Deep inside, they felt as though life itself was repeating the same message again and again until they finally listened. For the first time, they stopped asking whether the signs were real and started wondering why every path kept leading back to you. Every hour that passed added another unexpected reminder. While working, your soulmate lost focus because your memory kept interrupting every thought. During lunch, they smiled without realizing it after remembering a small detail about you that nobody else would understand. Later, they caught themselves opening an old photo, not to relive the past, but to ask themselves one impossible question: what if this story isn't over yet? The answer never came through words. It came through a feeling they could no longer silence. Their heart felt lighter whenever they imagined speaking honestly and heavier whenever they imagined letting you disappear forever. A close companion noticed the change immediately and asked why they seemed different today. After a long pause, your soulmate finally admitted something they had never spoken aloud before. They said they were tired of pretending that everything was fine when every quiet moment reminded them of the one person they never truly left behind. The room became silent once again because everyone understood that this was no longer hidden affection. It had become a decision waiting to be made. As evening slowly settled in, your soulmate reached a moment that felt impossible to ignore. They looked at their phone one more time, scrolled until they found your name, and rested their finger just above the screen. Their heart raced faster than it had in months. They weren't searching for the perfect words anymore. They were searching for the courage to stop letting fear make every decision. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Just as they prepared to take that first step, something completely unexpected interrupted the moment and changed the direction of everything. A message arrived from someone they never thought would contact them, carrying information connected to you that they had never heard before. The instant they read the first line, their expression changed completely. What they discovered in that single moment made them realize they could not wait any longer. Because the truth they learned today has the power to rewrite both of your futures. The message stayed on the screen, but your soulmate could barely breathe as they read it a second time. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. It wasn't the kind of message anyone expects to receive on an ordinary evening. It contained a simple sentence, yet every word carried unbelievable weight. The sender revealed that someone had recently spoken highly of you in a conversation your soulmate never knew existed. They described your kindness, your quiet strength, and the way you continued moving forward even when life became difficult. Your soulmate sat completely still. Until that moment, they had convinced themselves that too much time had passed and that your story had already faded. But hearing that you were still remembered with respect shattered every excuse they had been holding on to. A quiet smile appeared across their face before they even realized it. Hope, which had almost disappeared, returned all at once. For the first time in a long while, they stopped imagining endings and started imagining possibilities. The more they reflected on everything they had heard today, the clearer one truth became. Every conversation had been pointing toward the same destination. Every unexpected reminder had been leading them back to you. They could no longer call it coincidence. They could no longer pretend it meant nothing. Their thoughts became filled with questions they had never been brave enough to ask before. What if this connection had survived every misunderstanding? What if distance had never truly erased what existed between you? What if the silence had only been preparing both of you for the right moment? Those questions refused to disappear. Instead of bringing confusion, they brought determination. Your soulmate quietly admitted to themselves that running away had never solved anything. Waiting had never brought peace. The only thing left was honesty. And for the very first time, they felt ready to face whatever answer awaited them, because living with uncertainty had become harder than facing the truth itself. Night settled once again, but this night felt completely different from all the ones before it. Your soulmate opened their phone, found your name, and this time they didn't scroll away. Their hand trembled, yet their heart felt strangely calm. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They began writing a message, erased it, started again, and paused after every sentence, wanting every word to be genuine. Then something happened that made them stop completely. Before they could send anything, another unexpected notification appeared on the screen with information they never saw coming. The moment they read it, their eyes widened, and they whispered, "This changes everything." Whatever they discovered wasn't just surprising, it completely transformed the decision they were about to make. And what they choose after this revelation could become the moment that changes both of your lives forever. Everything inside your soulmate became completely still as they stared at that unexpected notification. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They read every word once, then twice, then a third time, hoping they had misunderstood it. But the meaning never changed. The message revealed something they had spent far too long believing was impossible. Someone close to you had unknowingly cleared away a misunderstanding that had silently stood between you for so long. In one brief conversation, doubts that had once seemed permanent suddenly lost their power. Your soulmate realized they had allowed fear to write a story that was never completely true. They leaned back, closed their eyes, and let out a slow breath. Every reason they had used to stay silent now felt weaker than ever before. Instead of feeling trapped, they felt as though an invisible door had quietly opened in front of them. For the first time in what felt like forever, hope no longer seemed distant. It felt real enough to reach. That single discovery changed the way your soulmate looked at every memory connected to you. Moments that once brought regret now carried a different meaning. They began realizing that perhaps your story had never been about perfect timing. Perhaps it had always been about finding the courage to stop hiding behind uncertainty. As those thoughts filled their heart, another memory surfaced unexpectedly. They remembered something you once said that seemed ordinary at the time but now felt incredibly important. Those words returned with surprising clarity, almost as if they had been waiting for this exact moment to be understood. Your soulmate smiled quietly, not because every problem had disappeared, but because they finally believed there was still a path forward. The fear of rejection slowly gave way to the possibility of understanding. Every passing minute strengthened one decision they could no longer delay. The silence that had lasted for so long was finally beginning to lose its hold. Then came the moment that neither of you could have predicted. Your soulmate unlocked their phone one last time, opened your conversation, and this time they didn't hesitate. Their fingers rested on the keyboard as they carefully chose the first words they wanted you to see. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Before pressing send, they looked out into the quiet night and made a promise to themselves that they would never again let fear speak louder than their heart. Just as they were about to take that life-changing step, something completely unexpected caught their attention outside, forcing them to pause once more. What they saw left them speechless, because it felt less like a coincidence and more like the final confirmation they had been waiting for. In that unforgettable moment, your soulmate knew with complete certainty that the next chapter of this story had already begun, and what happens next will be impossible to ignore. A quiet certainty settled over your soulmate as they stood there, unable to look away from what had just happened. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. It wasn't fear they were feeling anymore. It wasn't confusion either. For the first time in a very long while, every doubt that had once held them back seemed smaller than the hope growing inside them. They realized they had spent too much time waiting for a perfect moment that was never going to arrive on its own. The signs, the conversations, the unexpected reminders, and every emotion they had tried to silence had all been leading to this exact point. They whispered to themselves that some opportunities only appear once, and if they allowed this one to disappear, they might spend the rest of their life wondering what could have been. That thought changed everything. Instead of looking backward, they finally began looking toward the future, and somehow every path they imagined included you standing at the end of it. The distance between hope and action had never felt so small. As the hours quietly passed, your soulmate found themselves preparing for something they had rehearsed in their mind countless times but had never been brave enough to do. They weren't searching for perfect words anymore because they understood that honesty speaks louder than perfection. They wanted you to know that behind every silent day had been countless unsent thoughts, unfinished conversations, and moments when they almost reached out but stopped at the last second. Now those invisible walls were beginning to fall. Every excuse had lost its power. Every fear had started fading into the background. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. Deep inside, they felt that if they remained silent now, they would be walking away from the most meaningful connection they had ever experienced. That realization filled them with a calm determination unlike anything they had felt before. They no longer wanted to wonder what your answer might be. They wanted the truth, whatever it turned out to be, because truth would always be better than endless uncertainty. Then came the moment that quietly changed the direction of everything. Your soulmate took one final breath, looked at your name on the screen, and this time their hand never pulled away. They pressed forward with a heart that was no longer hiding. In that instant, they weren't trying to rewrite the past, they were choosing to create a different future. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. What began as an ordinary conversation about you had become the turning point they never expected. A few simple words spoken by others had awakened feelings they could no longer ignore, and those feelings had now become a decision. Somewhere, at this very moment, your soulmate believes that silence has lasted long enough. They believe some stories deserve another chance, some hearts deserve one honest conversation, and some connections refuse to disappear because they were never meant to end. What happens next belongs to the chapter that is only now beginning, and it carries the possibility of changing both of your lives in ways neither of you ever imagined.